Has the law changed where a police vehicle can hide and be totally blacked out at night and still legally pull you over? That's a good question.
That's a dangerous question.
That is a dangerous question, but it's a good one.
And so, Anonymous, so here's really the question, you know, being blacked out completely at night, usually you have to have something that gives an indicia that it's a police officer. So let's ask James that.
There was a cut through. Say again, Larry.
Go ahead, James. Why don't you answer the question, since this is law enforcement, your background, and also being a lawyer that practices in the field of criminal defense. You know, is this legal is the question, but, you know, having the police vehicle hiding and blacked out at night, give an explanation as to undercover vehicles and how they can be used.
Well, Anonymous and Larry, it's been my experience that law enforcement can effectuate their job any way that is safe. Being blacked out on the side of the road may not be safe, and I suspect it's not going to be part of their policy. However, being hidden behind a bush, blacked out, waiting for speeders to go by or doing any kind of surveillance, there's no per se law against that. It may be a policy issue with the agency, but there's nothing precluding the officers to do whatever's necessary in the context of their policies and procedures and the safety of the public to get it done. As far as laws go to stop them or to stop the behavior of the investigation or the investigating officer, I would submit that those laws are rare, if any. I don't know of any. I just know of the policies of the agencies in order to withstand any kind of lawsuits for negligence, for personal injury attorneys like Larry.
Yeah, James, you and I are old enough. We remember the Smokey and the Bandit movies, all right? So we remember where the law enforcement used to hide out behind the, sure, you know, the billboards and sure, hide out behind the bushes and hide out behind the gas stations. And here came the bandit, boy. They'd come running at them. Day or night, they can still do that. Now the question really becomes for me is an issue of safety, though, right, for somebody who's pulled over from somebody. You know, how do we know that that's law enforcement or that it's right, not law enforcement? So, let's say Courtney and Will are driving home tonight and somebody pulls up behind them with lights flashing. Do they automatically assume it's law enforcement? And what can they do to help keep themselves safe?
Yeah.
My response to that is this: if it doesn't seem right, call 911. They will tell you right quick and in a hurry if there's a law enforcement officer behind you. They can find out faster than you can call your mother, to call your father, to call somebody else and try and figure it out, or to call one of us to figure it out. Call 911, say there's a suspicious vehicle that has blue lights on, but something isn't right about it. Mm-hmm. Most law enforcement officers, if not all of them, they have certain criteria when they make a stop. The lights come on. Okay, if you don't stop, they'll bump their horn. Okay, if you still don't stop, they'll light up the siren. Okay, if you still don't stop, they're going to call other law enforcement officers who have lights and sirens on. So there's an escalation to get you to pull over. Now, that being said, that doesn't mean you just pull over if you have a concern. If you have a concern, go to a lighted area. Go to a place that has other people there, that has a population there. Or if you're on a rural road, like some of these out here, make that 911 call and say, hey, there's a car behind with blue lights, but it doesn't seem like a normal police car. It doesn't seem like a normal deputy's car. Can you tell me if there's an officer trying to pull me over? And they'll gladly be able to find out and let you know, yes, it is. Please pull over at your safest convenience. He does work for Bay County Sheriff or Panama CPD or whatever. So that's the best way to do it in my experience.
And you can't be arrested, just a quick follow-up, you can't be arrested, because I know some people say, well, if you keep them going, if you just keep on driving, you'll get arrested. I mean, is that true? I mean, what time do you have to pull over? What's a normal amount of saying, hey, I don't feel comfortable, I'm a woman driving on my own, it's 11 o'clock at night. You know, I'm just curious.
Yeah, because let me before you answer, James, before you answer,
you know what's going on.
There was an officer specifically over in one of our smaller municipalities. I'm not going to embarrass the office, the municipality right now. But let's just say one of the smaller ones. A young lady couldn't pull over because there was a ditch, and so she went up two blocks to pull over safely.
Yeah.
And almost, the guy came up and said, "I could get you for fleeing and eluding." Talk about that for a few moments, James. Thank goodness it was on video.
Yeah,
thank goodness it was on video.
With any crime, let's just go with that set of circumstances. Yeah, he could. But with any crime, you have to prove what's called in lawyer stuff mens rea, a guilty mind. You have to prove intent. Going 45 miles an hour, 2 blocks, to pull over safely is not intending to flee and elude, contrary to what that officer may or may not have said. So there has to be
It's on the
some kind of
videotape. He
intent.
said it.
Well,
Yeah.
right, but he said it. But on the videotape, does it show the driver speeding up to 60 or 80? Or
no, not at all.
or
Not at all. Not at all.
And exactly.
He was just being a.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So
I got bleeped,
So
by the
no.
way. So.
So no, yes, they can, but no, they can't. There has to be more to it than just that. And in reasonableness terms, and that's what's going to happen is in reasonableness terms, they'll look at it, and as long as there's no what's called fortuitive action to avoid or to ignore that officer's lights and siren or horn, whatever, and if it's a courtesy issue. If the young lady says, if the driver says, I'm sorry, I just had to pull over safely, there it is. So.